show 3 Academy Award-winning cartoons. And then I have a question-and-answer period. I tell a couple of gags in between. Lasts for about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Yeah. You're quite welcome. Bring the coffee on over, Barb. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you're very welcome to join me here with Mel Blanc. I mean, what a treat for me. I told a friend of mine that I was going to have Mel Blanc on, and he went, "You're going to have Bugs Bunny on your television program," and that's what's happened. All the years of cartoons and the work that you have done.
He's a pretty popular character.
Yeah. You have your characters, do they become full and rich in your mind, a complete character? I mean,
yeah, once you create it, you never forget it.
And it's all part of you? All right. Of your characters, which one of them is the fullest intellectually? I mean, have the fullest background to you? And I'm asking this for a reason, because I've thought of a question to ask.
No, I think Bugs. Bugs is actually, he's the most popular.
Okay. How would Bugs Bunny describe Mel Blanc? How would Bugs Bunny describe
Well, let's see now. Bugs would say, "Oh, Blanc, he's a genius."
Tell me more. Tell me more about how he would describe you as a human being. Because you could describe him as a character, and you could describe his traits and his characteristics in this, and how would Bugs describe you as a human being?
Well, this guy can do anything. Hey, you show him a character and he'll give it a voice. And, he's also an antique watch collector. And, he's a kind of nice guy, as natural as possible.
Yeah.
He's not one of them egotistical jerks like Daffy Duck. And, that's about it. Just a regular guy.
How many of your characters, I mean, you have just, how do they keep coming? Where do they just keep coming from? Is there a void?
First they show me a character.
Yeah.
They tell me what he's going to do in the story. They have a storyboard of the still picture showing me what he's going to do in the pictures.
Yeah.
Like Porky Pig, I tell the kids at the colleges I wanted to be authentic about it.
Yeah.
So I went out to a pig farm and I wallowed around with the pigs for a couple of weeks. Then I come back to the studio and they kicked me out and said, "Go home and take a bath." Which I did. When I come back, I said, if a pig could talk, he would talk with a grunt. He said he was a little timid character. He'd talk with a grunt. You know, oink, 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 oink. That's why Porky got his voice.
That's incredible.
Tweety was a little baby bird. I gave him a baby voice.
Oh, I thought I'd go up with your cat.
Sylvester was a big floppy cat. I gave him a floppy voice. All the way down the line with all these different characters.
Sure. Do people have favorite characters that they ask you? I mean, somebody that is just really identified with a certain character.
Yeah.
How do they relate?
Let me give you one of these things, and you can see a few of the characters. I have an 8x10 that I want to give to you of these the same picture, without the wording on the bottom.
That's incredible. And you know, and the whole thing, and this is just a picture of all the characters. And when
these are the popular characters that I created.
Yeah. And my favorite is looking right over your shoulder is Foghorn Leghorn. That's the name, right?
Yeah, you know how I got that character?
I want to hear about that, because that character knocks me silly. Every time I see him and the little chicken hawk and the dog in those cartoons, everything stops in order for me to watch that.
Years ago, I heard a hard-of-hearing sheriff when I was just a kid.
What'd you say? What'd you say? But pay attention, boy. I can't understand. Not so loud, eh, Dave?
I thought that'd make a good Southern news. I say, boy, listen, boy, you listen. You looking for chickens? Well, there, see a little house over there that says D-O-G? That spells chicken. Go get 'em, boy.
Exactly. And I have seen that character taken into movies. I've seen that character, you know, different people do it in movies, and an actor make an entire career doing kind of a part of that character.
There was a guy on the Fred Allen show that I can't think of his name, but he did a character like that, and I don't know which one of us got it first, but I got mine when I was a kid. I remember.
When did you start going back to the beginning and getting into doing characters and getting into performing? Because you are a performer. You're a performer. You bring things to people. You step across that boundary that begins into the area of magic that I so enjoy and get people wrapped up in it. When did you do that?
I started when I was just a kid in grammar school. I used to entertain the kids and the teachers at assemblies, and they would laugh, and teachers would give me lousy marks, you know, more or less of a normal thing. And that's how I actually got started. I loved vaudeville. When Jack Benny came through, I would go maybe twice a week to see him. I just love this man so much. Never thinking I'd ever eventually work with him.
And become friends with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't only my boss, he was one of my dearest friends.
You're 70 years old now, which is an incredible thing, and all the work that you're doing. What's it like to be 70?
Well, Jack Benny would say 30. I feel like I'm 39.
I know
We're
how
not
you
on the
feel
air
in
yet,
this,
are
and oh yeah,
We are?
we
Oh,
just
for
been
God's sake.
continuing doing the whole thing. How have you? What is it like to be 70? Because when I'm 70, if I'm 70, and it doesn't matter to me so much whether I will be or not, but when I am, I want to have the work and the things that you're doing now. That's, if I have a dream, I would like to be able to do that. I
Well,
think.
thank you.
So
You're
you're
flattering.
well, all right. In that flattery, how do you deal with flattery? How well do you deal with it?
There are a few people in this business who are not egotistical. To me, a man who thinks he's great, even though he might be fairly good, doesn't appeal to me. I don't, and especially when he talks about it. Like, I very seldom associate with too many of the people in the business, because the first thing they talk about is shop. We say, don't talk shop. Well, they talk shop, and next week I'm going to do this, and last week I did that. So and all they talk about is shop.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. I like to be as natural as possible.
Of all the things that you are doing now, what are you involved with, like, right now?
Right now I'm doing a new series for Hanna-Barbera. It's called the Captain Caveman Show, which is on the ABC network every Saturday morning. And, you know, the Warner Brother cartoons that you see haven't been done since 1963, I think.
We were talking about that before. All right, could you explain again why the cartoons look different now than they did then?
Well, the cartoons that you see for Warner Brothers are full animation. They're fully animated, which means every frame is drawn. And it took 125 people 9 months to make one 6.5-minute cartoon. And of course, they can't afford to do that now,
No, not at all.
because it would cost between $300,000 and $400,000. But what they do is make specials for television. And Chuck Jones is making one now. It's called The Great Bugs Bunny and Roadrunner Chase, which will be either in a theater or on a network.
And that's done in the same style, in the full animation style?
Fully animated, yeah.
Fully animated. Okay. Have you seen other animations than the animations that are out now, like Watership Down and Lord of the Rings and this sort of stuff? Are you a fan of animation in itself?
To a certain extent, I am. Yes, a lot of the stuff I can't stand.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff is very good, like this Barney Rubble that I do on the Flintstones. That was one of the first limited animation cartoons I did. And that has good story behind it. And it was sort of a semi-limited animation, because they went through a lot of action. And incidentally, we're doing a new series on the Flintstones. We're doing about 17 new shows.
Is that right?
That's right.
Do you ever, how do people relate to Mel Blanc? How do people that just in general relate to you? I mean, you have all these characters and all these characters inside you, and how do they relate to you?
Well, a lot of people say, Mel Blanc, that jerk? No, but I'm very fortunate. Thank God, I have never had anyone say, I don't like you on TV or in your cartoons. Every single person that said, I love you. You're so wonderful in your work. And I thank them. It's flattery, but I have to thank them for
I'm sure.
being so attentive and watching the cartoons. And what I use when I speak at the colleges, a lot of the kids, I use a stock phrase. The kids will come up to me and say, gee, I grew up with you. I say, so did your old man. I've been doing it for 41 years.
41 years, that's incredible. And you've had the professionalism that you bring to it. I mean, the work, you're a craftsman. There is I don't know of anyone that has done so much. I mean, I look at the end of the cartoon characterizations. I mean, here I've seen 80 characters, I think, you know, all the characterizations by Mel Blanc.
Well, I do most of them, that's true. And on timing, I learned timing actually from Jack Benny.
Yeah.
He was so wonderful. And I could give you a good example of Jack's timing. There would be a new man in the cast, and he would have a line that followed Mr. Benny's line.
Mm-hmm.
And he would come in and Jack would say, no, wait till I turn to you. For example, Jack would say, well. Then he'd turn to this man, then the man would start speaking.
Mm-hmm.
But at rehearsal, the man would always come in, you know, before he turned to him.
Sure.
And timing was the greatest. I think Jack was the greatest of all in timing.
How does it work? Do you have to mimic the characters that you do? And let's say Bugs Bunny is in a cartoon and you're sitting there. Could you tell me the process? You're sitting there and you're applying the voice to the film. How does that work?
Well, to create the voice, first they show me the picture of the character.
Yeah, and you've already got. Let's say it's a cartoon. You're doing a Bugs Bunny, and do you mimic his? I mean, how do you put your voice to the movement of his mouth? I don't know how I'm asking this because I know nothing about animation or how the process.
You know, I told you the voice is always done first.
Sure.
The voice is done. They draw to the voice.
Oh, I didn't know that. I must not have been listening.
A lot of people don't know about that. They think that they make the picture first and then you put the voice in. That's wrong. The voice is done first. They draw to the voice. I'll give you an example of that.
Please.
Suppose that an animator is sitting at his table. He has a picture of just the outline of Bugs Bunny, and he has a mirror in front of that. He looks at himself. He hears on the phonograph record, what's up, Doc? He will look in the mirror and say, draw his mouth on the character. What's up, Doc?
Incredible.
And this will take maybe 2 or 3 feet just to have him say that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when they get this all done, I say it took 125 people 9 months to make one 6.5-minute cartoon. And it's an awful lot of work.
Yeah, I was watching, as we were talking before, the incredible detail and how even in the periphery of the scene, everything was outlined, and if somebody moved, it was a complete flowing movement of the hand, and then that I'm seeing a lot of things, it seems to be more jerky now. I guess it has to be done. Isn't there any way that and I asked you this before, but I want you to deny it on camera anyway, that the new computers or the new technology can help the animators at all?
They can help in a way, but you still know that it's a computer working. It's not as real as full animation is.
Yeah, so this is really a handiwork. You in acting, what are the performing that you want to do now? I mean, of the different types, like you're going to be able, you can do any type of character, I know. Do you want to do some performing in the different shows and situation comedies and the dramas that are
a little bit of it, not too much. It usually takes so much time. That's why I didn't do too many motion pictures. I did one with Red Skelton. It's called Neptune's Daughter. I think they're still showing it. I did it about 35 years ago. And this was good because it was like a summer hiatus I had, and I didn't have anything to do. It's when the radio shows were off. And I did this, just this one picture with Red. Then I did another one with, Dean Martin. And a little thing with Abbott and Costello. But just so they were just little spots. I never like to stay on because motion pictures take so long to make.
You know, Mel, you have worked with every major star and known every major star in the entire business. You have been enormously financially successful. You have been regarded by your peers and by people favorably. So if anybody has been able to determine what success is in their life, and up to 70 years you have, has that success in and of itself brought you happiness? Yes,
the greatest of happiness, because I love my work. I love to entertain people. I love to talk with people, meet people. And as I say, I speak at these 64 different colleges in a little over a year, and all of the people are the same in each college I speak at. They all get the jokes, the gags, the little things I talk about, And they're the same all over, whether it's Whittier, California, or MIT in Boston.
Is there anything left that you have not done yet that you really want to do?
Frankly, no. I just want to continue doing what I'm doing. And I think my son Noel will take on after that. You know, it's a funny thing. People say, well, who's going to do your voices? Because I'm kind of hard to imitate.
Oh, really?
And I said, well, you know, we were traveling cross-country when my son Noel was just 12 years old. And we'd be going along and I'd say, hey, look at the cow. He'd say, yeah, I certainly see him, Pop. I certainly do. And then I'd say, don't you think that the road is kind of straight? He says, yeah, it's a long way, Pop, a long way. And he would answer me in the voice that I gave to him, so I know he can do it. But as I say, he is like me. He doesn't like to copy.
I see.
And he's in production now, and direction, and he's produced over 8,000 commercials already for Blanc Communications Corporation.
Mel, tell me again the story that you told me before. All right, how did Noel relate to you when he was a child? You know, with all with all the things that he had.
Well, he knew I could do the voices, and he used every Sunday morning he'd bring the funny paper into me, and he'd say, "Read to me, Daddy." And I would take a different voice for each one of the characters in the cartoons, or in the paper. And he got quite a kick out of it. He couldn't wait for Sunday morning. He'd always come bringing the paper in.
I can imagine. But did he see you? Did he think of you as the character when you were doing the Jack Benny show?
That I don't know. I don't know whether he thought.
Yeah. Did he see? Was it a big deal around the house because of who you were?
No, not particularly. My wife Estelle more or less prodded me on to do this stuff. She was a great benefit in helping me continue in the work. A lot of times I thought, well, gee, I can't do that. I might as well give up. She'd say, no, try again. You'll do it. And I could.
Is she alive?
Oh, sure.
She's with you now?
Oh, sure.
All right, and y'all work
Beautiful
together.
gal. Been married for 45 years.
What are some of the secrets of a successful relationship? I don't know whether you've had one, and you never know until you get inside and get to know someone, but assuming you've had a successful relationship and the way your face lit up when you said that, what is it that has made a successful relationship?
Well, it's like the old gag, you know, always hold her hand, and if you ever let go, you'll kill each other. No, we have our little fights and little squabbles, but we get along very well.
You've been friends?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Sure. Well, you say yeah, sure, but that's kind of you've known a lot of relationships, and you've seen a lot among your friends, and it's not having a happy relationship or having one that is a growing relationship and supportive of each other and helpful is not exactly a common thing.
Oh, no, we're very friendly, and we talk about various things and have discussions, and we are very friendly, beside being man and wife.
That seems to be the key. Is there any, in your characters that as you have developed over the years, you've developed a particular fondness for Bugs Bunny. Well, I've lost my train of thought in trying to ask you about how many other characters that you have wanted to do. Do you see a difference in the sense of humor of the people that are watching cartoons now and what you do? Because you have to develop a lot of yours in ad-libs and your timing.
No, there isn't much difference now because the gags, the writers for these cartoons were so far advanced. I'll give you just an example of little innuendos that they have that you didn't get when you were a kid. Like this, one of the pictures I show at the college, this Academy Award-winning Nighty Night Bugs. You see King Arthur's Round Table, and in one spot you see a little sign that says sirloin of beef. Next time you see Sir Osis of liver. When you were kids, you didn't get that. But as you see it again and again, well, you finally get those little innuendos that they put in. Nothing dirty.
Did you ever work with the writers?
Oh, yes, all the time.
Yeah, so that must have been did you only work for Warner Brothers during that time?
I was contracted to Warner's.
Yeah.
Prior to that time, I worked for Walter Lantz.
Yeah.
And I created the voice for Woody Woodpecker.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. And it's now being done by Grace Stafford, who is his wife.
Yeah, I have seen her. Is this an equal opportunity business for both males and females that you've work with in animation? Like, what is when you do a let me get another character. All right,
Okay.
when you're doing a play, and when you're doing some animation, it's like doing a radio play, isn't it? I mean, you've got
Yes,
the storyboard there, and then
and then the script is actually
Yeah.
like a radio script.
Do the actors that you've worked with, and having worked with so many of them in animation, how do they relate when they come in to do a cartoon or something like that? I always seem the voices are always bouncy.
It's sometimes very difficult to get people to do the character they do on radio. They get before a mic and to do an animated cartoon, and they're kind of nervous about it. They just can't do it exactly as they did it on radio.
Making that jump, when I'm trying to do some improvisational comedy, making that jump to get and fully commit myself to a character, how do, I mean, I know you do it all the time, I mean, but how? How do you make that jump and fully commit yourself into a character?
Well, it's very simple. As I told you, once you create a voice, you never forget it. I'll have a whole continuity of a radio script, for example, and have maybe Pepe Le Pew here, you know, the little French skunk who kissed the pussycat. Then it'll go into Speedy Gonzales.
Fast mass on me, go chase again, take cheese with me cat, I think. And then, of course, Bugs Bunny always comes in there and interferes with everything. Then the Porky Pig will come along and fluffer and fuck at that. You fuck little bird. Oh, I thought what is that?
You see, it's very easy to change because after you create the characters, you never forget them.
Yeah, sure. I know you say it's easy, but I'm just sitting here again. Just
But you know, we used to have a tough time. It used to take me a day and a half to just do the dialogue for a 6.5-minute cartoon.
How come?
The directors would try to tell me what to say, and I would say it exactly as they did, and they'd say, no, that's not it. So then I would try to give it my own inflection on the darn thing, and they would say, yeah, that's what I want.
So they have it in their ear what they want,
Yeah,
but it's just
that's
not.
right.
It's
That's
not
right.
no way to translate
They can't tell
it down.
me exactly.
Yeah.
But we used to do it in continuity form, one character right after another. But I found that taking each character individually, like all of Porky's, all of Daffy's, all of Tweety's, all of Sylvester's, and the various characters, if I do them individually, read the line ahead to know what inflection to do on the line I'm speaking, it cut the time down to 1 hour instead of a day and a half. And
incredible.
that's how quick we can do it now.
You know, you don't. When I hear you talk about the past, I didn't listen like real intently to that question because something flashed on me. When I hear you talk about the past, I don't hear you like wanting to stay back there or wanting to do this. You seem to be a very current and present person. And
Gee, thanks, Doc.
I mean, it's not like all your best times were in the past. I mean, you have worked and had such a fulfilling career, but yet all your best times weren't in the past. You seem like you're having a wonderful time right now.
Well, I'll give you a good example.
I want one.
A guy fell down a flight of stairs. He landed down. The cop came up and he looked at this guy and it was a wreck. He says, "What happened? What happened to you?" He says, "That's in the past. I'm now looking forward to the future."
And that's the way you deal with it.
Yeah, but if I can continue to do the things I'm doing and entertain people, as I say, I love my work and I love to entertain and meet people. And
what is it about a performer, Mel? What is it about someone that enjoys performing and entertaining, like yourself?
I can't explain that.
Can you give me any insight into it at all? Because I'm trying to figure out what it is
to
in
love
me.
your work, be as natural as you possibly can, be as creative as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And like when I speak at the colleges, I'll tell the kids, they say, how do you create a voice? Say, well, you see a little kitten, for example. You wonder, how would that little kitten talk if it could talk? Now, you have to indicate it's a little kitten with a meow. And then you know that he has a very high voice because he's just a tiny kitten. You have to tighten his throat and make him sound very small. Meow. That's how I would create a voice for a little kitten. And for a hippopotamus, for example, he's big and he's heavy and he's fat and he's in the water all the time. Sounds like kind of a water eater. So this is actually the way you create a voice. I used to do that in the car when I was driving around. People thought I was nuts.
When you see the people and I guess the question that I was asking is when their faces light up, when you see that you have, you know, you're at a college audience and you see them laughing and you see them doing it. I had an improvisational show the other night that we did, comedy show, and I did a line and everyone laughed. I mean, a whole group of people actually laughed at something that I said, and it was an incredible feeling. It fed a really neat place within me, you know, that said, hey, that's okay. And I was just wondering...
The only way I can explain is it makes you feel good inside.
Yeah, that's what it did.
To know that you're getting across and people like you.
Sure. And in your personal... In dealing with the people out here in Hollywood, have you noticed the changes over the years in the people and the executives that you've dealt with? Because you've dealt with them, periods, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, you've dealt with it.
I noticed a change in some of the agency people, but they are progressing along very wonderfully. Like I tried to get on the Joe Penner show. You remember Joe Penner? You want to buy a duck? That was years ago. That was the first network show I did. And I kept asking this one man, won't you give me an audition? And he'd say, we'll let you know when the time comes. About a year later, he called me and said, we're giving you guys who think you're funny a chance to be funny. This is what he said. He said, be there at 11 o'clock. And I was there, and Joe Penner was in the booth. And I did a few different dialects and voices. And Joe Penner come out and he said, why haven't you been here before? He says, I could choose you every week. I said, well, I just had a little difficulty getting an audition. But nowadays, why, they know that you can do a thing, and they either call you in or they have you audition for it to do a few lines of the character. And they're progressing very well.
Do you see the people, as far as the actors that you're relating with, like when you did the television during the 50s, I was talking to Bob Easton about this also, that you had, was there a different pressure, or was there a different feeling of, since it wasn't so much like right now, there's a lot of money on the line. One program goes on, a producer could stand to make hundreds of thousands of dollars from a single program after it all gets out. Well, then there wasn't so much money, and so was there a different attitude because of that?
Well, the only difference was fear that you wouldn't remember your lines. Nowadays, they have the idiot boards that show you what you're supposed to say, and you look at it, and they have the other character here, and it looks like you're looking at the character, but you're actually reading from the board. And nowadays, it's very simple, but when it first started, it was very difficult. You had to memorize every single line and word. And in many shows now, many great actors memorize every single word and line.
How do you memorize a lot?
I did at the time, but I wasn't too good at memorizing lines. And I would have to fight it. I have to rehearse at home for hours trying to get the lines right.
Yeah, I haven't done. Do you find, have you ever done, you improvise a lot when you're doing your characters and you're doing them on the cartoons. Where does that come from? Where does that place where just funniness happens, you know, just the way you say it? I mean, do you know, can you get in touch with that place?
I can't explain that fully, but I will tell you that you must have a good ear in order to do these crazy things. You have to hear yourself, and you have to hear what you're saying. Many people will talk into a tape recorder, then you play it back for them, and they'll say, that's not me. And you know it's them, say the exact words.
What can you tell as far as the actors right now that are actors and actresses that are trying to do characters, and not necessarily for animation, but trying to do characters like we are in the different scenes? And can you give me any help or give me any advice on committing myself or doing this? And
yes, unless an actor tells you, I want it done this particular way, I think the actor should do it as naturally as he possibly can.
All right, can you explain?
To me, naturalness is a big factor in acting. Like when I did the French violin teacher with Jack Benny.